So a client reached out wondering if I could do alterations on a dress that she had had custom made. It was a wedding dress that she had had custom made by a Nigerian designer, and she wanted to find out if I could do alterations on it. I was like, oh, custom made Nigerian designer. And this was the actual picture that she had sent me. The designer of this dress is called Matopida, very famous celebrity. I want to call her celebrity designer. And so I was like, okay, well, I worked on some of Matopida's dresses and they do exceptional work, do amazing work. And I believe they're in good communication with their clients. And so I was wondering why she was coming to me for alterations when you could have gotten in touch with the designer and figured out what you needed during the process of your custom made dress. So I asked her what exactly she needed, and she was like, the dress doesn't really fit, and I would like the sleeves removed. And I'm like, the sleeves removed? So I was like, you know what? I'm not too sure that that's something that can be done, but I can't really say what can be done and what can't be done. So I'll have to see some pictures of you in the dress, and then possibly I'll have you come in so that I can see what exactly is going on with the dress. So she did send some pictures eventually. So this is her in the dress, and I guess she's showing me the dress without the sleeves. And I'm looking at the dress and I'm like, this does not look like the dress that you had shown me, or the picture of the dress that you had shown me. And I was like, was this dress designed by Matopida, or was it designed by someone else, a different Nigerian tailor or seamstress? And I think she meant in our communication, she ended up mentioning the Matopida dress was just inspiration, but they ended up, whoever this tailor was, ended up making this version of the dress. And so that's why it didn't fit. And that's why she couldn't be, well, I guess she was in communication with this tailor seamstress, but the issue was that her wedding was in a couple of weeks, which they usually are. Wedding was in a couple of weeks. And so she wanted to find out if there was something that I could do, because the tailor said, oh, you can just take it for alterations and they should be able to do alterations and the dress should be fine. And then where she has it circled there, she mentioned that it was a little too tight. The dress was so tight, she actually couldn't really get into it, or it was just uncomfortable wearing it. So I was like, what does the dress look like on, and what does the dress look like from the back? So she sent me some more pictures. So this is the back view of the dress, and when I saw that, I was like, this is really the issue. The dress was too small. It was too small, and she had a couple of weeks for her to be able to fit into the wedding dress. So I was like, I don't know about the sleeves, because the sleeves seem to be there to support the dress or keep the dress up, because the style looked like it was an off-shoulder style, but still providing the support to keep up the dress. So I was like, you know what, I need to see what's going on. So come in, let's see what's going on, and then we'll go from there. So she came in for her initial consultation, and just as pictured in the original pictures, it was a disaster. Yes, the dress was beautiful, it was well made, but of course, what's the point of having a beautiful dress that you can't wear or can't fit? So the biggest issue really was that she couldn't get into the dress, and so everything else was just trickling down. And the sleeves that she wanted removed, I suggested not. I had her actually try the sleeves on, and you can see the sleeves. She actually managed to put the sleeves on. So I was like, there's nothing wrong with the sleeves. They're actually adding support to the rest of the dress. If I take off the sleeves, I have to put in more stuff to just add more structure and keep up the dress. And the dress, the train was super heavy. And so I was like, no, let's keep the sleeves in. Let's figure out how to close up the space that was open so that you could actually fit the dress. So I just started to inspect the dress to see if there was enough seam allowance. This was the little piece of fabric, like the extra fabric that the seamstress or the tailor sent in. The sleeves were actually a little bit loose, so I was going to take them in right at the point where I was pinching, just so that they could stay up a little bit, because like I had mentioned earlier, these were supposed to sit off shoulder, just slightly off shoulder. So I was going to tighten those, and then I did find that there was enough seam allowance for me to let out. So I was actually going to do that, just let out as much as I can and add a little bit of that fabric, extra fabric, if I needed to. So came to the end of the consultation, I gave a quote for the work that I was going to be doing. Of course, this was a rush order because her wedding was in a couple of weeks and she needed this done, and it was a significant amount of work, especially that the dress had beading and all the rhinestone and all of that. So of course, there's always like sticker shock. Oh my gosh, I didn't pay that much for the dress. And so when she left she was fine with the cost of the alterations because I guess she knew that it was either paying that or getting a different dress. I went to work, I had her come in for another fitting, and as soon as she comes in, she's like, oh, I've been in contact with the Nigerian seamstress, and the Nigerian seamstress thought that you charged too much. She said, like, for the alterations that I was going to be doing, that was way too much for me to be charging for that work. I was like, well, you can send the dress back so that this seamstress works on the dress and does whatever needs to be done, or you can pay me for the work that I've already done, or I could put back everything the way it was and you can take the dress and you don't need to pay me anything. So it was just weird that that seamstress, that I don't know if they had messed up or whatever the situation was with the custom made dress, that you would have a say of the cost of the alteration when you're not providing a solution for the situation at hand. So we figured that out. She was fine. She, of course, had said she had seen the work that I do, lifesaver and all of that. And so I guess the seamstress was just trying to be petty, or I have no idea. But I was like, the price is the price. So finished off with that, and boom, this is why the price is the price. I managed to let out the dress so much that there was actually excess fabric. I don't think I used any of the piece of fabric, like the extra piece that they had sent, which wasn't really going to do much. But I mean, great that they sent that. But yes, so really the issue, I didn't take process videos for this, but the issue was the inner fabric, the lining fabric was a thick, I would say a bridal satin fabric, no stretch, very, very minimal stretch. And then this top beaded fabric was stretchy. So usually with wedding dresses, I don't know, I don't have a lot of experience making a lot of wedding dresses, but from the wedding dresses that I've worked on and seen, a lot of them use very similar fabric. So if the top fabric is stretchy, your lining fabric should be stretchy so that you have that movement and flexibility. If the top fabric is like a satin, then your lining fabric should be very similar, just a lightweight version of whatever is going on top. And so this fabric, I'll call it a bridal satin. So slightly thicker, medium weight than your normal just satin, no stretch. And so it was shaped, of course, according to her, but made super tight and she had no movement. So I let that out and give them their flowers. They usually leave quite a bit of seam allowance. And so I let out as much as I could. And I did take her measurement so that I could match what I had let out with her measurement. So I let out as much as I could. And this was pretty much the excess. I was like, yay, we're headed in the right direction. Now I just need to take it in. So I was just gonna add darts on the sides, and that would pretty much be the alterations of the dress. Oh, did you notice that the train changed? So her original train, well, actually it's not the original train. The ruffled train was detachable. So she could attach it to the bottom. There was little hooks and loops that she could hook those on. And then I guess for the reception, take off the train and have it like that. So that's why you're seeing it like that. So it did have a detachable train. She came in for another fitting. Yay, very close to where we needed it to be. All the excess fabric was down. The panel in the back is laying a little bit better. The sleeves, if you can see, are staying up. So yay. I just needed to tighten it up a little bit and I was going to be done with those alterations. Another view of the dress, laying a little bit more smooth. And I mean, she was right, the dress was gorgeous. But yeah, what's the point of having a gorgeous dress when you can't wear it or you can't get into it? So alterations done. She got to wear her dress for her wedding and she looked absolutely beautiful. So glad I was able to help her. Gorgeous. Before and after, how did I do?